In the face of persistent territorial tensions in the South China Sea, particularly with China, the Philippines is set to strengthen its maritime defenses. This enhancement will come in the form of 5 new patrol vessels for the Philippine Coast Guard, a development announced on May 17, 2024. Manila and Tokyo have finalized their largest maritime security project to date, which will see Japan fund the construction of 5 large patrol ships for the Philippine Coast Guard. The funding for these vessels, which are 97-meter multi-role response vessels, will come from a loan of us $413 million from Japan and a 5-year integrated logistics support package. The Philippine Coast Guard expects the 5 patrol ships to arrive between 2027 and 2028. Another signing ceremony for the contract for the vessels will take place at a future date. These vessels will join the 2 already transferred by Japan to the Philippine Coast Guard, BRP Terresa Magbanua MRRV 9701 and BRP Melcora Aquino MRRV 9702, which were provided under the second phase of the Maritime Safety Capability Improvement Project. The Terresa Magbanua class patrol vessels are a class of patrol vessels built for the Philippine Coast Guard. The ships are named after heroines of the Philippines, with the lead ship, the future BRP Terresa Magbanua, being a heroine of the resistance movements against the Spanish, American, and Japanese occupying forces. Terresa Magbanua class patrol vessels are officially classified as multi-role response vessels. Described as capital ships in a Philippine Coast Guard, the patrol vessels are among the most modern and largest in its fleet. Terresa Magbanua itself holds the title of the agency's flagship. The 2 MRRVs have also been deployed to patrol the country's waters and train with partner nations. Last year, Melcora Aquino participated in the first ever US Philippine-Japanese trilateral Coast Guard exercise. Officially designated as multi-role response vessels, these will be operated on a variety of missions, including maritime security patrols, search and rescue, counter-narcotics operations, logistical transport, oil spill response, and environmental protection. The Terresa Magbanua class vessels are variants of the Kunigami class patrol vessels that were originally designed and built by Mitsubishi for the Japan Coast Guard. Like the Kunigami class, the Philippine MRRVs have steel hulls and aluminum superstructures with additional ballistic protection for the bridge. However, one noticeable difference found on each MRRV is the incorporation of a flight deck with a hangar for use by an H-145 utility and SAR helicopter. The helicopter hangar replaces storage space that would otherwise be occupied by a small tender with its own launch and recovery crane, as was the case on the Kunigami-class vessels. The MRRVs still have deck space for 2 rigid inflatable boats for use in at-sea interceptions and boardings, as well as remotely operated vehicles for conducting underwater surveillance and SAR missions. The other key difference from the Kunigami class is the removal of the autocannon armament, as Japanese law prohibits these from being exported. The Philippine MRRVs nonetheless retain their forward weapon mounts should the Coast Guard decide to install appropriate armament at a later time. The propulsion system on each MRRV currently consists of 2 diesel engines with a total rated output of 13,200 kW, though the vessels will also be fitted with electric propulsion in the future to further reduce emissions. The diesel engines can deliver a maximum speed of 24 knots, while a more economical cruising speed of 12 knots will enable sailings of up to 4,000 nautical miles in between refuelings. The vessels are each crewed by 67 personnel. The onboard spaces include an accommodation area for housing additional personnel, such as rescued accident survivors. Also onboard each MRRV is a hyperbaric chamber for use by divers. The electronic suite includes Furuno X and S-band radars, Teledyne FLIR electro-optical infrared sensors, and an integrated communications system from Rodide and Schwarz. These improvements are a sign that in the fierce conflict in the South China Sea, the Philippine Coast Guard will continue to upgrade its equipment, even in small steps. In fact, many countries have expressed support for the Philippines, especially in strengthening its armed forces, such as the country of France, which produced the world's largest patrol vessels made of aluminum, the OCO PV-270, and 4 units of Boracay class, a 24-meter patrol boats. The country of Australia also has a contribution because the 4 units of the Ilocos Norte class patrol, which is one of the 35-meter vessels, is made by Tenex, and 4 units of San Juan class, a 56 meters vessels equipped with helipad. Japan has made a remarkable contribution to modernizing the Philippine Coast Guard. 10 units of 44 meters Parola-class patrol vessels made by Japan Maritime United as part of the Maritime Safety Capability Improvement Project for the Philippine Coast Guard. The United States is another long-standing ally of the PCG. In addition to increased exercises with the United States Coast Guard provided training reached as many as 1,500 PCG personnel. In 2019, the United States donated an outboard motor training center to the PCG, and in 2023, it donated a larger training center to help the PCG meet the technical education requirements of its expanding fleet. Currently, the PCG has 62 patrol vessels, 4 support ships, and 469 auxiliary boats. August 28, 2024, the Philippine Coast Guard has deployed 4 new high-speed response boats as part of the PCG's maritime security enhancement in western Mindanao. The newly acquired assets would boost the external defense operations of the military's Joint Task Force Poseidon in Mindanao. The 2 of the boats would be deployed in the Bansa Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and the rest would secure the seas in western Mindanao, which the PCG said is the most challenging area of its operations. The HSRBs have mounts for machine guns of different calibers and other protective armaments and designed to respond to critical situations. The watercraft were part of the 40 units procured by the PCG from a local shipbuilding company in Cebu. Moreover, navigational safety is ensured by operating and/or maintaining and servicing 565 lighthouses and more than 44 navigational buoys around the country, which guide and ensure safe voyage to mariners.